Some coaches are going to be fine when AI arrives and some aren't. The difference has got nothing to do with their programs. Last week, I made a video about a client who'd told me a story about vacuuming. Now this is going to sound a little bit of an odd example, but they've got a big house, they've got a heavy carpet, and they've got a powerful vacuum cleaner. And now this client told me, which is quite an intimate disclosure, they told me that they didn't use the full power on their vacuum cleaner because it was too hard. And it takes them about an hour, just over an hour, to vacuum their carpets, and they're buggered at the end of it if they use the full power. I was having this conversation with a friend on Thursday when I had a coffee. I disclosed to that friend that this client was actually a guy. And he wouldn't believe me. He flatly believed that this was a woman. Now, whatever stereotype that speaks to, he just didn't think that this would be something that a guy would share. Now, the client in question, late 50s, early 60s, let's say. And the reason why he told me wasn't because he was feeling particularly weak or wasn't because he was feeling particularly feminine. The reason he told me this story, the reason why he was prepared to share, was firstly because I asked him, what was a win? What's a win that you've experienced since we've been working together? But the main reason was because he felt seen. Now, that might sound like a "you're not me, you're not me" interesting thing for one man to say to another man. But this happens, for me, this happens all the time. And I don't think I'm doing anything unusual. And maybe that's just how some of us are. When I meet a new client or when I engage with this client in question, I don't talk to him about programming and about the methodology behind the squat or behind the deadlift or behind a conversational pace on the rower. We do talk about those things, but we talk about those things in conjunction with what is he doing for his granddaughter's birthday? How is he finding the transition from selling his business and being retired? These are the things. These are the relational coaching things, which are going to solidify your relationship with your clients so that they don't want to get an AI rendition of the program that you put together. If I'm going to have an ability to make a difference on this client, so our catch line on the front of the building outside is "move better, live longer, be happier." Now, that's catchy. It sounds good. But if you boil down on that, if we're going to actually achieve that, I can't achieve that with a client in 3 months. I can't achieve that with a client in 6 months. I need years to be able to achieve those lofty goals with a client. Because if I only see them 2 to 3 times a week, the ability for me to affect their lives in a 45-minute window 2 to 3 times a week is minimal over a period of 3 months. So I don't sell 6-week programs, 6-week restarts, 12-week programs. We sell an ongoing coaching relationship, which is built on building a relationship with that person so that we know when things aren't quite right in their life, that we know when they don't have a lot of energy, when we know that they're on form and that we can give them a little bit more dosage, but we can build a meaningful relationship that lasts for a very long time. I believe there are 2 types of relationship when it comes to coaching. We've got transactional relationships and we've got intimate relationships. A transactional relationship is what people believe, in my experience, to be the traditional gym environment. So you buy a swipe card, ergo you buy access to equipment. That means someone takes you on a tour around the gym, they charge you $10 or $20 a week, and they give you this magical little card. And all that does is guarantee you have access to the building. Doesn't give you a program, doesn't give you any real understanding about how to use the machines. It doesn't tell you about a cadence of training. It doesn't tell you about rest days. It just gives you a transaction. And if you're lucky, when you come and swipe in, the person on the desk might actually talk to you. So this is very much like going to get gas or petrol at the petrol station, where you might get a grunt and a nod when you swipe your card, or you go to the dairy or convenience store to buy some milk. If you are lucky, the person behind that counter may ask you your name or may remember your name. But the chances are their investment in your relationship for a quarter or a gallon or 2 liters of milk is very minimal. Now, when we talk about this transactional model in the gym environment, most people think that that's what they need to do. They just need to get access to some equipment and then they'll get the work done. Then they don't go, Then they blame the gym industry. They don't blame themselves, because most people don't blame themselves for failing. They blame someone else because it's easier. There's less accountability involved in that. So we say, right, I bought this gym membership. It was shit. The gym was shit. It was always busy. Whenever I wanted to go there, I could never use the kit I wanted to use. And they
You're
fail.
not me.
So where does AI fit into all this?
You're
Well,
not me.
I've built programs in both ChatGPT and Claude. It can do the basics. It can do a pretty good job. It can put together sets and reps. It can put together rest blocks. It can, I was talking to some clients this morning. If you want a really simple way to see what AI can do with a program, if you are currently going to a gym or you're using a personal trainer, now this is going to suck. This is really going to suck if you're a personal trainer. All that client needs to do is take your program, put it into ChatGPT or Claude, tell it what kind of cadence it trains on. So I come 2 times a week. I do a 45-minute session. I generally have about a 5 to 7 minute warm-up. We do a strength piece, which is X or Y. So say a box squat, 5 sets of 6x8 box squat. Then I generally do some accessory work, which might be some ring rows and some lunges and maybe some step ups. And then I finish off with a little bit of core stability work. So I might do some pull-off presses or such. If you put that into Trainerize, that's Trainerize. Jesus wept. If you put that into AI and you ask that AI, you say, I train twice a week for 45 minutes. I'm 57 years old. I want a generally 6 to 8 out of 10 RPE on my workout. And I want you to map out using these templates for the last 4 to 6 weeks. I want you to map out the next 12 months. I want a relative intensity. I don't want to be crushed. AI will do a fucking good job of putting that program together. So if we know that, if we know that's the case, it's not what AI can do. It's more about what we're offering. And when we get to that point, this is the uncomfortable bit. And I make no bones about making this fucking uncomfortable. If you are just there as a personal trainer or as a coach to hold a clipboard or to shout at people,
You're not me.
AI is going to kick your ass. So if you're not engaged in your client's life or finding out about your client's life, about their relationships with other people, if they're not telling you shit that you think, geez, I'm not quite sure you should tell me this, you are not engaging with them. You are facilitating them. You are a cheerleader or a facilitator. You are choreographing something for them. You are not building a relationship with them. So you are having this, as we said before, a transactional relationship with your client. And if you're not giving them any more than a program and a couple of prods, they can get that shit from AI, mate. But
You're not me.
if you can remember their granddaughter's name, if you ask about what their wife's up to, if you remember that they said they were going to watch a soccer match or a rugby game, or that they were going to do a hike at the weekend, and then the next time you see them, you say, hey, Bob, hey, Tina, what was the crack with the hike? How did the birthday party go? You're buying them into something greater. You're buying them into a relationship. I had a conversation with a client this morning who started with me in 2017. It is now 2026. That's 9 years. That person doesn't come just because they like our programming. They don't come just because it's convenient to their house and it's on the way to work and they can come to the gym before work. They come for something greater. They come for the strength of the relationship that they have built with us, and they've also built with the other people they train with, because our programs have very low turnover, very little in the way of a large influx of people and a large outgoing of people. The same people generally train at the same times a day in the same sessions. So they've got safety, they've got consistency, they know who they're going to be with, they know the idea of the program, they know the intensity, they know we'll look after them, they know that they can come in
You're not me.
tired, we'll pay attention to them. They don't even have to tell us. We'll say, hey, Ruby, Damien, geez, you guys look like you've had a big night last night. They know we care. You cannot project to someone that you care about them in 5 minutes. You as a coach, me as a coach and a gym owner, we have to put some effort in here to ingratiate ourselves into their lives. And that shit is what puts us a tier above AI. Now, if you regress, you start off and you give the client what what we're talking about here. You give them relational based coaching, and then you just think, fuck, this shit's too hard. Mate, AI, we've talked about it. AI will kick your ass, and you deserve it. Now that might sound harsh, but if you are giving your client a champagne invoice and you are providing a beer budget, you deserve to lose that client, because that client deserves better. The industry deserves to do a better job for clients like that. Now, there is a resource that I would recommend in this case. There's a book called The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. It's also written by another dude, but I never remember his name. I'll put a link in the description below. This book is instead of the go-getter, so most of us have been indoctrinated into being the go-getter, chase, grind, work hard. This book takes a series of Bob and his co-authors' experiences over a large period of time, 60 years cumulatively between the two of them, of business and life and experiences, and it switches it to the go-giver rather than the go-getter. So give stuff to people. Give your investment into their relationship. Give your advice to them. Give your warmth and opinions to them so that their life is a better version of life because of your input into it. Rather than trying to take, rather than trying to get, give. So as I say, that book is well worth a read. Or if you're lazy or you're not a reader, get an ebook. I can't do ebooks. I like to have a tangible book, but you're not me. So we boil it down to two things. You got two options. Do the job properly or get another job. Because the pace with which I learned about MCP today. I don't know whether many of you, I'm 51 in July. MCP came as a shock to me. But being able to connect one program to another program via this and then do all sorts of shit in the background through Claude or something, that stuff is mind-blowing. And it's moving at a pace much faster. I'm catching up on something that probably came out a year ago. And so what shit is happening in now? There's all sorts of stuff going on. So if that's the case, you need to keep pace with what your client really wants. And that, most of the time, is a relationship. It is not a choreographer or a fucking get on and do some work. It is a relationship. So the coaches will be fine. The coaches who already operate in the manner we've discussed, this relational model where they actually give a shit about their clients. The coaches who won't are the ones who are squeaking along, doing the bare minimum. You deserve not justifying what they charge their clients and not really delivering anything other than a bit of a sweat. So every video, every story I tell comes back to the same principle. And so as a result, I've put all this shit into a free thing for you. It works for both coaches on their own and for gym owners who want to train their coaches to have a more relational model with their clients, which means better retention. You can charge more because you're offering a better service. It's called The First Conversation, and it is free as fuck. I don't want to charge for this because it's taken me the best part of 15 years to get to the point where I could put this into press or into print or into Adobe, whatever. So I want to give this shit away for free because, again, if I'm going to build a relationship with you, I'm not going to do it through transactions. I'm going to do it through intimacy. I'm going to do it through giving stuff away. I'm going to do it through proving to you that there is a better way of coaching or a more effective way of coaching than you might be doing at the moment, and it ain't going to cost you anything apart from a bit of sweat.